Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Prep Talk podcast hosted by Not Really Mad, fulfilled by Max and Pete's Flips. Today will be an introductory episode. We'll just share our background and share a little bit about our goals and how we want to keep improving as Amazon sellers. But with that, I'll just turn it over to Not Really Mad, and we'll get going.
That's what they call me, Intro Junior. So I've been selling since April. That was my first ever sale on Amazon. And this month I think I'll do a little junior 75K. But it's been about 5 months now, and it's kind of where we're at.
So when you were thinking about starting Amazon, you had a bunch of different opportunities that you could have gone down. Did you consider anything else before you got started?
Yeah, I was looking at getting into real estate, and I was actually going to I actually got my, this is how much of a scumbag I am. I actually took the classes for my real estate license, and I just never did the test. I found a bunch of Amazon videos.
Yo, wait, I did that too.
I also brought
that too. Yo,
I didn't know this. I bought a real estate course.
So pretty much what it means is if you're going to do Amazon and be successful, you first have to take the real estate course and do absolutely nothing with it.
Exactly
and then decide that you're going to pivot and go right into Amazon.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You can't get your license. If you get your license, actually, I think Wi-Fi. I think I remember watching a podcast where I think he was doing.
He did it too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he actually got his though.
But then he didn't do anything with it. I don't think.
Probably, I don't know. He probably
I have no
didn't
idea.
too much money on Amazon. But yeah, that's how I started.
Yeah. So when you decided that you were going to do the coaching program, and what else did you think about doing? Like, was that just were you focused on that, or how did you start tactically to get to where you are now?
Yeah, that's really it. Because I honestly didn't even look at any copywriting or anything else online, sales or whatever. I really just was found one thing. I thought Miles was a really genuine dude. He wasn't flashing Lambos. I just saw some dude teaching you. There was no emphasis on money. It was just all emphasis on teaching and growth. And I just thought that was unique in an e-com space. And I just felt like it wasn't scammy like everyone else. And I felt comfortable. So that's when I bought I said, screw it. If I lose $500 on this course and it sucks, who cares? It's $500. I'll make it back next week. It's a very small investment. So I bought that, and then I saw the course was legit, wanted to learn more, and then I did the coaching from there. But yeah,
so when you were did you have any experiences growing up where you were inclined to do this sort of thing, or did you just kind of find Amazon on a whim?
No, I really on a whim. I always knew that I was smart enough to do something with ecom, but I just was I think I was just being a shithead, and I should have looked into it sooner. I think I actually this is a lie. During the pandemic, I actually looked into creating a drop shipping store, private label drop shipping kind of, and it was I remember this dude had this video, and it was a posture correcting thing. Never ended up doing it. I think it was called Mr. Crack or Best Crack or something. It was wicked funny, but he had done $250,000 on drop shipping, and I was like, what? I took notes on a notepad for 2 weeks, and I was just all right, screw this, and I never came back to it. And then the next thing I did was the launchpad, the roadmap. So yeah, that's really it.
And then, Kat, why don't we just get into your story a little bit? Why don't you just detail how long you've been doing this, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, June was my first month doing Amazon. I got started through a friend, Pat Basile. He's the man. I saw a way that I could create something that could make more money than working in a 9-to-5, and so I took that opportunity. And I mean, from that point forward, I just went all in. And that's one of the things that I always tell you guys. I just do things, right? I don't even think about it. I Billy Bob that joint. I just do stuff. So once I saw him posting and everything, I was like, yo, what's going on with this? He lived right around the corner from me. We both still lived at college, and went over there. He showed it to me, filed my LLC on the spot, got Keepa, got Seller Amp, and started sourcing for him for free. And that's how I learned the fundamentals and the basics on top of watching YouTube videos. Then filed my LLC, got my business account, got my plum, and then literally just started Chad scaling, Billy Bob scaling all the way to the moon. And so my first month I did 40K rev. July also did 40K
which
rev.
Is insane.
For
your first month, that's crazy.
Yeah. I remember watching you do that, and I think I was at 25 or something like that. And I was it gets into something where it's there's this whole game of comparison within Amazon that you really need to refrain from. Like I was super jealous of you guys because you guys were first month. I've been doing this for a lot longer, and I was just looking at you all like, what is going on? But I was already setting up the prep center, and so my stuff was definitely going to be lagged from the beginning. And now looking back on that, like everything's working out. But I feel like people like really get like, set back with the comparison game.
In July, but July I also stayed at 40K. Like I didn't really make any improvements from there. But I transferred off all my personal credit. So my credit score went back up. Went completely to business credit. And then that allowed my spend limit to go up from about 25K to 62K. And so then that just set me up to blow up in August. And
that was 4 weeks that you went from 25K to 60K on the plum.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they just kind of started.
They just kept upping you crazy because I think once your personal credit score shot up from like your debt relief on your personal end, it was just your debt to income was back to normal. Like utilization was way down, so they were probably like, "All right, boom."
Yeah, and on top of that, don't forget, like we still have our 9-to-5s, so that's kind of like on the books money. So it allows your credit score to be built up even faster once you get off all of your personal credit. So mine went from like a 750 to like a 690, and now it's back up to a 740. But I think if I didn't have that 9-to-5, it would definitely have taken a lot longer.
Well, I feel like that's a huge tripping point for a lot of people is that they have these really good credit scores or they don't have credit history, and then they just stop right there. Like they don't go any further because they're afraid to like dip into it. But like when I separated everything, I think I was using a lot of personal. I was at 620. I bumped up to 750 like immediately. And then I'm so much more leveraged than I was previously. So I feel like your credit doesn't really do any good if you're not using it.
So Pete, yeah, I was gonna say, how did you get started? Because I know you've been flipping before and you had the Turo, but were you doing eBay? I know you said you were doing eBay. You did tickets, right?
I've done a bunch of stuff. So I've been flipping for a lot longer than y'all. So for probably like 2 or 3 years prior, I was in a Bolo group. And, luckily towards the end of the time that I was in that, I stumbled upon Zach Sedano, who was like, hey, like he was hosting like a space within that group. And he was talking about like prep centers and stuff. And I was just totally burned out with like creating the eBay listings and doing all that stuff. And so I was like, oh, Amazon sounds a lot more appealing. So I talked to him in a group space and then stumbled upon Buy Box Bandits. And I'm like, dude, I recognize that voice because I didn't know who he was, but I recognized the voice. And then I was like, oh, dude, it's the same guy. And so then I figure out who he is and that sort of thing. And, then I started just binging Buy Box Bandits. And eventually just like, it just all snowballed from there. And then I did the roadmap and then the coaching. And the coaching was crazy. Like, I mean, I was doing 10K a month for like month after month just on like odds and ends, but I didn't know how to source. So like
you just kind of like stalked this guy for a little bit and then decided that you
No, I did not stalk him. There was some banter. I got into Buy Box Bandits and then I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos for like a couple weeks, and then I decided I had enough and I was going to move.
Oh wait, so when you were doing the Bolo, what do you mean you were doing? You didn't know how to source? Were you just strictly buying stuff that they had said?
Yeah, so like they basically had all these like bots that probably sent out stuff to like it's basically like a sophisticated leads list, and I would just like buy like vinyls and stuff, and so I'd get all these messages on a daily basis, and eventually I was like, this is no way to live. Like my headspace was crazy because I'd get like. You would just hear like ding, 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 ding.
You gotta be on it too, right?
Oh, and like some people were eating off of it, but no, I just couldn't do it. Yeah, but then also like it's going out to a ton of people, so it would tank inevitably, and I just like didn't piece that together.
I think that's like a really important thing that for all of us to just kind of like point out is. I mean, a lot of people, I think, come into Amazon, they're like, oh, like, forget these coaches, forget these mentors, forget these programs. Like, everybody wants to sell your program. If you can find a good one, use it. But,
yeah,
I mean, dude, us, like, coming from experience, like, 3 months ago, I had my first month, I did 40K. 3 months ago, Pete, you did 25K. Now you're about to do probably, like, 130K this month. Max, probably, like, you went from, 40K to, like, you're probably going to do, like, 70, 80K this month. And like
Yeah.
the one thing that we have in common is we both took Miles. All three of us took Miles's roadmap. All three of us hopped in Miles's coaching program. And I think that, I mean, if you really want to be successful in any of these spaces, then like you definitely need a coach or you need a mentor. If you want to scale up as big as, we are, and not just
Yeah.
make,
If
Well,
you
yeah, I think
you
it hits on a
can do
really
without
important.
you, but
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
just
hits
make
on like an
small
important point of like, you can't be using shared services because there's so many eyeballs on it. It's too easy. The barrier to entry on these sorts of things are way too low. So,
fuck the rules
if
right
what you need to do is you need to know how to do it yourself. So you're finding your own individual listings that other people are missing. And like Garrett talks about it all the time, right? You're creating moats around your product. And if you're going through like a shared source, it's effectively you're going against that. It's just you're like looking in a lake.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's
part of
definitely a
this
lesson learned.
part of the business is, like you want to keep your leads close to your chest, because if you have a crazy replan and everybody finds out about it, then you're
good to
chalk. Like,
anybody.
it's chalk. Like literally, like you have a crazy replan you've been using for 2.5 years, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's gone.
Yeah.
And like now you have to go find another one, and you probably could have made so much more profit if you just squeezed a little harder.
what would you rank social media on as importance? All right, so let's put the most important factors out there, like having startup capital, say, sourcing, and then like social media. How would you rank social? What would you rank social media? You think in terms of like how important it is to be successful in this game?
For me, it's number one, because what I think it does is within your friend group, like your normal friend group, the people that you knew before Amazon, they all don't believe in it. They don't think that it's possible, and they have all these limiting beliefs that they're going to project onto you. So if you have like all those people, if they have your ear, then the likelihood that you're going to be able to maintain that 0 to 10K is so low, because you're just going to hear all the people that don't think it's possible. And then you're going to believe that. And you're just going to say, this isn't for me. But if you have people that are like also going down the path of doing that first 10K, which is the hardest part, dude, it's really not that hard. And then, 10K to 100 is just you just have to like make a couple tweaks and then you're off to the races. You have the fundamentals, and it's not that hard from there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I definitely don't agree with it being number one, but I feel like that's because, I mean, in our group, Peter's definitely the most involved in social media, and like he's the most knowledgeable about it. When it comes to like me, my end goal is to like run a 10,000 square foot warehouse that I can sell on my e-com storefront. So for me, it's scaling. Like I want to increase my spend on my business cards. I want to really put systems into place so that way I can outsource labor. I can outsource a lot of different aspects that would take to run a 10,000 square foot warehouse. Finding leads is extremely important, because I mean, you're going to have to build up and actually build into that inventory. So for me, it's definitely like sourcing, finding systems, and the actual nitty gritty of Amazon. That's the number one thing, because I think it depends on what your end goal is. Because Peter's end goal might be to be a coach. Like, he might love teaching people about Amazon, and that's why social media is big for him, because he needs that outreach. Yeah,
I kind of disagree with it, because like if you think about like where you came from, Kat, you came from like the breeding ground of good Amazon sellers, which is PA. So you had Pat, and then like, he connected you with Steven, and you met Miles. Like you had that in place. Whereas like, I think there's 7 Amazon sellers in Wisconsin. So like for me, I had to go find it. Whereas like you have this like ridiculous network just from the get. And so like you kind of had, like you had people that showed you that it was possible.
Yeah. And
I think that I guess
factor for me, like the fact that
if
I had Pat right away, and I met Steven before I started, and those guys are both like, I mean, Dre called Pat an OA legend when we first started.
Yeah.
But that was definitely a benefiting factor for me, is that like I had the resources right there, and then right in my first month I was in the group chat. So it's definitely a lot different for me, and it's probably why I prioritize differently.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that leads into a good point, which is everybody has a unique situation, and so like the rules do not apply the same. Like when I was first starting, I took all of these rules that were like, like they're kind of mentioned offhandedly, like on different episodes of whatever podcast you're listening to, like, oh, you should only do like a prep center at this level. But what if you have your hands in 4 different things? So then maybe it'd be better to get in earlier. So you really need to do like self-analysis and figure out like how, when is the right time for me? If you're working a 9 to 5, if you have another side hustle, if you have a family, if you have all these commitments, maybe you need to do prep earlier. But you need to be able to do that analysis on your own and understand like what sort of tax is that going to have on you? Because like I remember what you looked like before the prep center, and you looked like you had been just dragged through the mud. And I didn't look like that at that time. I look like it now. But there's just, you have so many different things going on, and eventually you just have to figure out when it's the right time for you.
Can we pull that picture up? Does anybody have that picture on them right now? Just to show everybody what I look like after. For anybody who doesn't believe that we were in the trenches and I was dead, just literally
you were sweating,
whatever.
You looked like
Peter, I know you have that picture.
I know. I tweeted it, and
you
that's
were like,
yeah. I
you
mean,
look horrible,
dude. I would wake up in the
you were
morning.
like done, bro.
I would wake up in the morning and my dad, like, imagine just waking up in the morning, see your parents, and them just being like, "Damn, you look like shit." And be like,
You look like a wet piece of turkey.
bro.
you look like I did when we started like fiddling with the lights on the podcast.
Bro, I looked pale, like I looked sweaty and clammy, and like I looked like I stink. Like,
bro.
I looked like I smelled bad. That's my dog. She just got
Bro,
sun. She's getting.
It was not good, bro.
Yeah,
No,
I
it was
looked like
bad
I
even.
smelled bad, bro. Like,
You just switch off the chemicals, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I'm all natural with the geodes too, bro. You got to get on. I know. Listen, a lot of Amazon sellers will be
Yeah, there it is.
bro, look at this. This is what I look like. all of June and July.
Yeah, but that's what it takes to make it.
No,
If you're not
I
willing
look
to
like
do
a
that.
ghost compared to right now. Like
that was my first impression of you too. I was like, this dude is like, it has problems. But look at what that did, because we had like we started to create an impression on socials. We then roast you, and then Lenny connects us with another person that really helped you not look like death.
Oh my gosh, dude! I forgot that's how we got the prep center. Is
Yeah,
literally because Peter roasted me on Twitter and said,
make fun of him. Make fun of
yeah,
the clowns for not
literally,
having
like,
prep
prep center.
centers.
"We need a prep
True.
center" on a meme, and then
Yeah.
lo and behold, now,
We met Danny, and he's
Yeah.
like dude. He's the best. Like,
oh
best
man,
guy in the world.
I'm about to just drive down there next week just to see him.
yeah, but that's
I
because
would if I lived close, bro.
But that's because we were just Billy Bob doing shit, and it worked out. Like, I got into a prep center that I was initially at, and it was brutal. Like, it was a horrible experience, but as Billy Bob did it, I didn't look around. And then I learned how to do all the prep. I said, here's some questions that you should ask, because I messed up. But you just have to do things, and then eventually it works out. Like, I was paying a lot more for worse service.
Yeah, no,
Whereas
that's 100%.
it's like
true.
Danny's like, he's the GOAT.
Yeah,
When I
I mean,
pulled up there, dude, it was all of his. I think it's all of his friends working there, right? I don't know. It seems like
They're
it was
good
just
guys.
like all of his homies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danny, Danny, I love you for listening to this, bro. You look like you're 45. Everyone,
He
all your
does.
guys-
He does.
everybody says that to him.
I think, dude.
all
I
your
think
friends
yeah.
working for you, like, look
Dude,
so
it's
much
Benjamin
younger than
Button.
You. I'm pretty sure you guys are
He
all.
suffers from Benjamin Button.
This,
Dude, no.
this is how you know. All right, if your
True.
prep center owner doesn't do this for you, then you know he's a scumbag, bro. I roll up. I got all my inventory, and we start talking. He's like, "Oh, bro, don't worry about it. We'll unpack the car for you." I'm like, "No, dude, I'm gonna help. Like, I'm not a scumbag,
Right.
whatever." And then he's like, "What are you doing? You want to get some food, some drink in you before you head home? Come on, I'll take you out."
No.
I was like, "Dude, I gotta get back on before traffic." But like, just
No.
the nicest guy ever. Super
I-
cool. Super excited to hang out with him next week.
Yeah. Yo,
Dude,
he's
that's
super-
why
I
I
feel
was,
like
me and him were fighting over who was gonna pay for the taxi. I was like, Danny, you can't be my sugar daddy and the owner of my prep center, bro. Come on. Sorry, I'm my dog needs attention. She's been alone all day.
it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
so she's
But I
all
feel
over
like-
my business.
you gotta look for that in especially for like a prep center owner. Like, I mean, this is my only prep center experience, and it's been great so far. So I don't have anything to compare it to. But I would say if your prep center owner is like shady, not very good with communication,
It's
like
communication.
kind of hidden, like
Dude,
anytime I
Danny's
text,
amazing with communication.
Oh,
bro, he
he's
texts
pushing
me ridiculous on that. Like, he'll always be hey, checking up, just hey, we're about to send this out. Hey, just want to make sure. Boom, boom. It's like unreal.
It works in mysterious ways.
It does. It really does, dude. I 100% it does. random people just reach out to me now, and it's like it's kind of surreal because like I'll have a need and then it just finds me. I don't even, I'm not even like looking for it.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's what's cool. That's kind of cool about social media.
yeah, like the dude today I was telling you about. I was like, I retweeted somebody, had no idea who it was. Turns out it's like Warner's media guy, and he was like, "Hey, appreciate the retweet." And then he was like, "If you ever need any help, let me know." I was, sure,
Yeah.
it's very nice of you. Like, it's crazy. But so like, what was the first product that y'all flipped? We'll go with Cat.
Mine was some granola bars, some protein bars that I found at the store. I literally just went in there, and I bought literally every single protein bar they had in the store, and I flipped them. It went really well. It went, like, I mean, the graphs were good. It was a really good flip. I remember like calling Pat and being like, "Dude, do you want any of these?" Like,
You're geeking. You're
I was
geeking.
freaking out. Like, you want some? Like, we could all get the protein bars. And then he was like, "Nah, bro. Like, you found it. Like, take them all. Buy out the stock." So I did, and yeah, I probably sold like, I mean, I haven't been able to find them again, but I probably sold close to like 50 or 60 of them. That was like my
Your first lick.
Yeah, my first lick, and then that kind of got me started in protein bars and supplements and everything. But
Nice.
But you
dude.
popped off too, because that was like, I remember like you were doing like $1,000 days like so early, like
Yeah.
so fast.
Yeah,
I did $1,000 days almost all of June. Like literally, like the first 3
month,
days
yeah.
were less than $1,000, and then it just became the
That's
norm.
crazy.
Now it's
Yeah,
like
that's nuts.
freaking. And when I went to July, I was kind of like lagging because I was transferring off personal credit and going a little bit more FBA, and so my sales were like a little bit lower than $1,000 a day sometimes, and I was like,
Oh, I remember that. But there's a lag.
Yeah, I was definitely hitting you guys up because I remember I was like, bro, my sales are so low, like it's bothering me, and like
You're
kinda
You
sketching
were
out.
sending a bunch of stuff FBA too, right?
yeah, and then dude, like now all of a sudden August is here and freaking
I'm
if
sick.
I do less than 3K in a day, I'm like upset.
Irritable. Yeah. And that's what's so crazy about Amazon is that like I remember I was stoked when I first started the coaching program. I'd be like, oh my God, $500 a day. And like over the last like couple of weeks, it's like, dude, if I do under like $3,000 a day, I'm pissed. Like I'm irritable. And it's just a change, and that's 2 months.
How many units is your storage at Amazon?
I have like 100 cubic feet of this one category.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and I asked to increase it to 400, and they declined me today, so I got to follow up with them.
Really? I don't know. Yeah, is that how that works? You just kind of hit them up if you.
Yeah, you can just request it, and it's got to be based off of like your IPI score and like how fast you're moving product. And there's probably some bad buys that I have early on that are just kind of sitting. But I'm trying to move them out. But
that's going to be an issue for December. So, I mean, I'm already planned on doing FBM stuff, but I kind of wanted to FBA like a ton of stuff. Like,
yeah, so some
November.
free sauce. Think about your capacity early as you get into the queue. I gotta have a contingency plan of FBA in that quarter.
Yeah, see, I got to look into that because I got to see, like, I would love it if Amazon had like a bar graph or whatever, like a loading phase that like showed you how much percentage you have left. I'm sure they do somewhere.
They
I
do.
Honestly, haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into that, so I got to pay attention to that coming up in November because my plan was to like spend super heavy in November and just send everything through prep to FBA and then like have like an FBM wave, late November, and just FBM through mid January, but have that stock from November sitting there.
Yeah.
I was honestly thinking about holding out a little bit. We'll see. I don't know if November is still heavy too on pull, but if it's not, I was kind of thinking about like buying a bunch of stuff early and holding it on some 0% interest for like maybe a couple weeks before then December picks up.
It kind of gets into a really good point about how once you go through the process once, you then know what to expect. Like you know exactly when you should be holding product, when you should be selling product, when it's time to just cut ties so you can move it all out if you're stocked heavy. You learn all of these things. And you basically, if you do OA for 1 year, it becomes easy mode. But most people don't get there. Most people just quit. because then you know the sales that are going to come up. You know, like all of the timing of everything, because it's going to be pretty consistent. You know the products that are going to move, so you know where to look. But most people just get like really, really, bogged down by it, and they just don't get there.
I think if you can make it past 1 year in OA, you're almost like guaranteed. I mean, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but like I think Miles has talked about this on podcasts where it's like he doesn't know anyone who stuck with it for more than a year at like a high level that didn't do 10,000 a month profit after that first year.
But but if you're doing the networking, if you're going to the events, if you're if you're talking every day, it's like literally impossible to fail. Like I don't know how you do it at that point. Like the people that fail try, and we talk about this all the time, but they lone wolf it, and so then you're setting yourself up to fail. Like it's just not the move.
Which I had to adjust because honestly, like I'm a super introverted person, and I honestly don't like social media, but I've been kind of having to force myself to grow this account and try to like get into social media. It's not something that like I per se super enjoy. I love interacting with people, right? But
in person.
Just I guess I'm just more of an introverted person. It's like my social battery gets drained way quicker than a lot of people, I think. So I have to like consciously be aware of that.
You can't fight your nature. And that's something I talk about. I've been talking about a lot on Twitter recently is like, you cannot fight your nature. Like, for me, like school 9 to 5, like if I expend all of this energy, I'm just going to be even. Like there are people at my 9 to 5 that just accelerate past me because this is what they want to do. And they enjoy it. Whereas like, dude, I can only tread water. Like I can never be better at this because it doesn't fill my cup. And so why put all of this energy into something that you're just never gonna be that good at?
Yeah, the path of least resistance, and you'll always win at things you're passionate about over people that aren't, because you'll have like that energy reserve to tap into that other people won't. Like you can only do something you hate for so long versus like someone who truly loves it, they can go forever because it's just truly aligned with their purpose. I actually wrote something. I think I'm gonna like drop an essay on Twitter. No one will probably read it, but
dude, don't talk to
I was writing out
that.
I was writing out a everyone's gonna read it that follows me, but fucking read it.
I'll read it. I'll read it.
Yeah, I wrote out this thing. I gotta fix the grammar and stuff, but and kind of clean it up a little bit. But it's like a page or two, and I figured it's just going things I've been thinking about the past month. I told you it was long. It's like a giant blog post. So, what would you charge for access to your buy sheet? Because you can't trust that they would just spread that around crazy. So it's like it would have to be a high number, because think about it. If you value it at what we are making off of our purchases and everything, but someone could spread that around. So you would have
depends who you're giving it to. Like if you're giving it to a new person, they couldn't do anything with it.
Well, my sheet they could, dude. I freaking put
everything on my sheet. They wouldn't be able to figure it out. Like a new person, do you honestly think?
Dude, I put everything on my sheet.
Dude, my sheet's color coded.
Yeah,
by like good products, bad products, replens, what I have listed right now, what I don't. Like everything's on my sheet. Like if somebody really had access to my buy sheet,
they'd be able to run through.
They'd be able to do it 6 figures in a month.
I really don't think that a new person could.
Well, dude,
someone that's asking that question could not run through your buy sheet.
Capital, not a constraint. You could do 6 figures in a month with my buy sheet.
Yeah. Not with mine. Well, if you wanted to push it, yeah, you could probably. You could at least do.
Peter also does the Peter method and doesn't actually have a buy sheet. And Dre does the Dre method. When it shows up on his front door, he knows what he bought.
Do you actually not have a buy sheet?
No, I've never tracked anything.
Bro, they just be remembering stuff.
What is it like? Do you have a detailed buy sheet or no?
No.
You're fucking with me.
Bro, I think I helped you set up SellerAmp to Google Sheet.
Yeah, well, no. Yeah, I know. But
wait.
You have it? Because I don't want. I'm gonna put. I will roast him because I've roasted on this before. Cole, I love you, bro. Cole's buy sheet, hideous, bro. I roast him all the time because we share access to each other.
At least he has one.
Bro, I roasted him on his buy sheet when I saw it. I said, bro, this is like.
Does Dre really not have a buy sheet?
No, bro. Dre doesn't have I doesn't have a buy sheet at all. Like, go ask him. He will literally
fucking with it.
Bro,
I'm gonna text the group chat.
Text the group chat right now and say no. Like he said, my buy sheet is when they show up. Actually, he might have one now after.
But that might just be cute Dre like banter. Like I don't know. I don't think
he's so serious. Because I asked him, I was like, do you use a buy sheet? Excuse me.
Nah, bro.
Like when we first started, like when we weren't even like that. I think it was like the first Zoom call. I was like, oh yeah, this is on my buy sheet. He was like, damn, I don't even have a buy sheet.
I think he's fucking with you, man.
Bro, he doesn't have a buy sheet. I'm
No,
telling you.
I think that's banter, man.
He's
I think he
not,
must.
he's
banter.
not joking.
How could you not have a buy sheet?
It's simple. You just order the products, and then when they show up on your doorstep, you know you got them.
Oh my god, bro! I'd have such a fucking heart attack. I check my spreadsheet religiously, like it's disgusting, and I still have anxiety about that, dude.
I don't.
There's
I
no
don't-
way. It's impossible. It's impossible. I just texted him. We'll see if he gets back to us.
Bro, look, he said, I don't.
No,
Get
you're
him.
fucking weird.
I'm telling you. He doesn't have a buy sheet. He just buys things. That is the definition
Robert.
of like just scaling. Like he just doesn't have a buy sheet. And you know what I asked? I was like, dude, how do you like keep track of like where you got stuff and like the ASIN and everything? And then he was like, nah, I just remembered. I'm like, bro, how do you just remember? He just knows, bro. He's got to be an all-knowing being. Ridiculous. I'm absurd.
That's crazy.
I told you, I didn't believe me.
I don't believe it.
I still don't believe it, bro. I just
Wait, back
responded
to
with
what
a
I was
fucking-
gonna say before. Peter, do you actually not have a buy sheet? Like, do you?
No, I
have-
do. I
Oh,
do.
okay. I was about to say because, like, I remember a
There's
couple
no
weeks
way.
ago when we were talking about having a combined buy sheet with like just the group chat,
Yeah,
just for like freaking
learning.
monster licks or
Yeah.
monster sales or whatever.
Yeah.
And you were the one that put it together, and I was like, wait, he put that whole buy sheet together. He doesn't even have one himself.
Dude, total leech move, right?
I was like, what?
You were just. I
feel
should
like
be
I was one of the
fulfilled by
only-
Max, by Peter.
I feel like me and Peter were the only ones that put like leads in there, and then everybody
Bro,
else.
I was
like,
not good enough at
rip off
sourcing at
them.
that time.
What are your goals? We'll start with Kat. What are your goals over the next
like my goal is to own a giant warehouse. Like, so I find it so cool that I could, have a family business. Like I want this to be like something where, my dad can retire and come work for me and stuff. And like that's probably going to be a reality. Next year, I think me and him have been talking about it. And I was like, Dad, there's a real chance that I can make a lot of money here and just keep scaling up and like keep building. And I was like, but I definitely need help. Like that whole idea of like having a warehouse and, doing like crazy amounts in wholesale and OA would be awesome. And like, I honestly, for me, I think about it as two different entities, right? I think about it as OA and then I think OA, RA. I think about wholesale, but I mean, RA would probably fade out of the picture.
Yeah, you don't
Just
have the
because,
time.
yeah, I mean, it'd be the time constraint, but just because they're two completely different business models. And I feel like I'd want to run wholesale as almost as its own little entity, just to keep it separated. Cause I mean, I'm going to be going deeper. I'm going to be spending larger amounts of money all at once. I can keep them on the same storefront, but I know in like inventory labs, you can separate by supplier and stuff. So like, I can separate my OA leads from my wholesale leads and like my suppliers and stuff.
So you got two different operations funneling into the same.
Exactly.
business. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Well, and I think that like the appealing part of wholesale is the ability to just unload capital
yeah,
on like one ASIN or a few ASINs, and then OA, if you're familiar with the processes, taking huge clips on ROI each time an opportunity comes up, and you can just do that, and you can just say, hey, each sale, these are the 7 things that I want to hit,
Mhm.
and then and then you can just funnel more money into wholesale. And it's just this beautiful little flywheel of, taking money, reinvesting, and then just scaling like crazy, just Billy Bob scaling. Should we get into Billy Bob and like at a high level talk about what that is?
Low key, bro. Billy Bob's
So Billy Bob is the next generation of Chad. And so what Billy Bob does is Billy Bob does not think about doing things. He just does them.
yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people struggle. And I posted about this the other day on Twitter. Is like I get all these questions that are like, hey, I need permission to do this, I need to do this, and I need to do this. And it's like, dude, just do stuff and it'll work out. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like this podcast is not perfect. It's our first run at it. We're just Billy Bobbing it and it'll get better. Like that little special sauce for people. Just Billy Bob do stuff.
Yeah, I think something that's held me back is like I'm kind of like a perfectionist with a lot of things. And
Dude,
so
perfectionists, they live miserable lives. They
It
live
is
miserable
miserable.
lives because
And
you
a
can
lot of
never do
times,
anything good enough.
yeah, and a lot of times, like I've tried to like do things like get everything set up before I even take my first step at doing things. But like, unfortunately, that's just not how the world works. Like, you just have to take one step ahead, one
Yeah.
step at a time, and keep it going.
It's
And so
yeah.
that's something that I've had to learn through Amazon too. And Miles is like push that. He's like, dude, just one step at a time. Like, you're not going to know where you're going at first, but you know, you gotta just keep going one step at a time.
So I'm gonna. Oh, we should send that. But kind of getting into your point about, just like stretching outside your comfort zone. I talk about this all the time. It's like just back yourself into a corner and figure it out. Like just
Talk
move
about-
with speed.
Talk about comfort zone. Do y'all remember when we posted this shit?
That
Bro,
was
like,
crazy.
But like
got
that was
crazy
fun.
love.
Like, dude, but that I think that gets into like how low the bar is. Like,
Yeah.
we're just doing stuff.
Just be yourself. Just do stuff, bro. I feel like so often, like, yeah, I noticed that now too. Like, even as we're all growing, like, remember how when we used to post our numbers, we used to tag each other every single time?
Yeah.
We don't do that as much anymore. Like, we
Well,
don't.
I mean, because everyone died in FBM back to school season.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, like, we literally just kind of like lost. I feel like with FBM back to school and stuff. Wait, are we still recording?
Yeah, we're yeah.
Oh, I feel like with FBM back to school, like we kind of fell off of Twitter a little bit, just because working on the podcast, we're working on FBM and all of our stuff, and trying to like reprice and watching all the graphs super close, so that way we can squeeze that fucking bag. And in essence, it's like, dude, our group chat was kind of quieter this month than it has been any other month, but now, especially this week, it's like 180, bro. We're active. Like we're back in there. Like,
coming out of the trenches. Yeah,
exactly.
And
Like,
that's super natural. It's like when you're in the trenches, like you have a singular focus, your time is super constrained.
That's something I think it's one of the most important things about starting this business is like, don't try to do everything alone if there's someone there that can help you. Like, my dad will take packages to the post office if I'm ever like really around and like my brother, when I get returns from Amazon, I don't have time to build up an eBay store. So that's what he's working on right now. He's working on building up my eBay store, so that way when I get returns from Amazon, I can flip them on eBay and still make back some of my profits. Because I mean, we all know that sometimes you sell, A and you get freaking Y back on the alphabet.
Every so often,
like,
yeah.
Freaking.
Luckily, we learned together how to address that. Like, we know how to work through that. So it's like, hey, I'm going to get my money back from Amazon. It's not a big deal, but then I can just move forward on eBay and get rid of those death piles.
Exactly. But like,
have you ever had like people that weren't as positive, like in your personal life about it?
In my personal life, I think like it's kind of weird for me because
it's the PA water. It's the PA water. Everyone was supportive the whole time.
It's not even that. Like, I feel like when you first start something, you start slow, and people don't really see the return on it right away. For me, it wasn't like that. Like, there was definitely some kickback of be careful, don't do too much, like, don't do this, don't do that, kind of like telling me what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no real kickback of like, oh, like, you're never going to be able to make it. And I think that attributes a lot to the fact that, right off the rip, I did 40 G's in the first month I was doing this.
But before you were doing it, you were working for Pat for free.
Yeah.
So then it's like you just hit, like, you're not even really doing your own thing at that point. You just get ripping once. You've worked for free. Like, Gary Vee talks about it. Is like, D-Rock worked for me for free for how long? And then it's like, oh, he's an overnight success. That's not true. He did a lot of things that other people wouldn't for an extended period of time, and then he found success.
My first month was June. My first real month was March.
Right, exactly. So it takes a little bit of time getting up to speed, and then it just you're off to the races. What about you, Max?
Fulfilled by Max, exposed.
Yeah. What about you? Like, did you have anybody that wasn't like super supportive of it?
Not really. I haven't even told my high school friends that I'd do this. I'm like, we all like, because I went to a regional high school, so all my friends are like super spread out. Some of them live in Boston. Some of them are kind of farther out, stuff like that. So like we kind of link up like a few times a year. Unfortunately, I don't really see them that much anymore. So yeah, I haven't told anyone really. I've kind of just been doing this by myself. Just no one really knows. Like my couple of friends I see, like my close day to day, like friends from like childhood know. But like other than that, it's not really. I don't know. So yeah,
So it's like
but
totally so I think I talk about it more with like friends, like some of them, like my 9 to 5 people, like know that I've like dabbled in it. I don't think they know what extent it's gotten to now, but like they, like years ago, probably 2018, I went into Kohl's and was just picking random shit off the shelf and was like flipping it on eBay. And so they were aware that I started there, and they were just like, well, you can never scale that. You can never do that. I'm like, and then like my dad's always says like, are you sure about that? Like, do you think it's sustainable? And I was like, I started to get quiet about it. I don't really talk about it as much. And like people on like on Twitter know, but like that's all gas. Like they're all super supportive, and like they're inclined to believe that it's possible because they've seen people like Miles and Warner and whoever else like really run it up. So
That's dude. I heard the same exact things. It's always like it's the people who care about you because they don't want you to fuck up. They don't want you to like overspend
right.
and then lose your money and then have to start literally from scratch and like you're literally screwed. But
right.
if you do it right and you educate yourself first, you're not worried about that. And I feel like that negativity is only coming because they really do care about like your future and your success. Because I swear to God, I heard the same exact stuff. Like, oh, this isn't sustainable. Like, I think it was like Jeff Bezos said that Amazon's going to go out of business in 2030 or something like that in an interview one time. And dude, and it's like, dude, but our parents, they don't live in the economy that we live in, bro. Like,
yeah,
I mean, dude,
it's like an underworld economy. Like nobody's really familiar with it. But these are also the people that have been saying since 2008 that when's the next recession. There have been people that have been predicting it. We went through a pandemic, and like we're still clipping.
Dude, our economy is horrible, though, in my opinion. Dude, in 1980, the average salary of an American was $48K. It's only what? It's 56,000 now.
Yeah.
So like but the inflation rate equates $48,000 to like I forget what it is, like maybe like 100,000 or 80,000 or something like that. But like we have to figure out new and different ways to make money just to compete in the same way that they did.
Yeah,
right.
It's totally different. Like the whole go to college and then get a job. I don't see that working super well. No. I mean, because like I've got my hands in so many things. Got Amazon, got Turo, got
talk about
95.
not sustainable.
Yeah,
I did not. Yeah, I didn't. The biggest reason why I didn't go to college was like I went to like a really like elitist high school. I think I was the only kid who didn't go to college, and of that is like all of my classmates are going to like Princeton, Northeastern, Harvard, and I tell them like some kids I went like in my class. And they were like, oh, everyone's going, oh, where are you going next year? Like, oh, what'd you get into? And I'm like, yeah, da, 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 da. And it comes to me and they was like, yeah, I'm not going. And they were like, like, really, where are you going? And I was like, no, I'm not going to college. And they were like, they like couldn't believe it, right? Because they're just like in this white collar bubble and they've never experienced like a lot of like blue collar. They don't understand how the normal American works at all.
Yeah.
Which is like a huge flaw in my opinion. Like, it's like a lot of people on Amazon. I see a lot of hate on Amazon for fucking the 9 to 5, and it's like, yeah, like I don't want to be in a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life either. But like, who the fuck do you think keeps your lights on at night?
Yeah, that's super true. Like, you can't be.
You know how like people delivering your packages, bro. Like, someone's got to do it. Do I want to do it? No, I don't.
Well, and that's like I talk to people in my DMs every so often. Like, they're talking about how like it's a father of 2 or somebody that's like trying to scale this, but they have actual like important stuff to worry about. Like a kid in his basement that's 19. That's not paying rent, that's not washing his own clothes, like you can scale rapidly. Like you're not risking anything. If you just run up a bunch of like debt,
that's me.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly.
I'm 23 in my parents' basement.
But you're making sacrifices to get to where you want to go.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, I was living on my own in Westchester where I went to school. After I graduated for a year, I had 3 cars, making good money at my 9 to 5. And then in the matter of a year, I sold 2 of my cars for capital, moved back in with my parents, and pretty much turned their basement into a freaking warehouse.
But that's a dog move. That's somebody that's willing to make a sacrifice. Like Mia, she sold her car. Like if you sell your car to invest into your business, you're probably gonna make it. I think AC Flips did the same thing. He sold his
Dude,
car. You don't need
I
it.
sold 2 of them.
Pirate ship.
Well, I haven't sold the second one yet. I lost the
What do you
title.
need cars for?
That's what I said. That's why I'm selling the second one, because I lost the title. I tried to sell it in the
What do you
beginning
need,
of
bro?
August. I tried to
What do you
sell it
have
in
right
the
now?
beginning of August.
You have the Scat or what, right?
Huh?
The Hellcat.
You have the Hellcat,
Yeah.
and then what?
And
the
then-
other
And then I had another Challenger. I had 2 of them.
But yeah, but cars are just meant for Turo,
unbelievable.
or they're meant. For
I
to
do
be
love
sold.
cars though. I
Yeah.
do. Even though
That's my
we have
advice.
different tastes. I don't respect your taste, but it's fine. But
All right, Kat. What do you want to do in December?
December
round out the year.
alone, number wise, I want to do 50K profit.
So what do you think that's going to be in sales?
Probably about like 350, 400 in
We're gonna
dude, wait,
that.
wow.
Are you in on it? What?
Dude, the legend's calling me.
He's calling you.
Yeah, hold up. Yo.
Oh shit! You guys are potting right now. Are we? Is this live right now?
Yeah, bro.
This is live. You're on the
It's
recording.
live right now.
I'm gonna put this as the
For
trailer.
everybody wondering, this is our father. His name's Miles.
Subscribe for the flow.
Yeah. What's popping? You got a feature on our first podcast.
Subscribe. I'll hide you later.
All right, bet. I'll catch you.
subscribe.
That'll be the
Oh,
intro.
God.
That'll be the intro clip.
That's our
That's
father
hilarious.
right there, bro. You guys just met our dad, our
Yeah,
FBA dads.
Clipping like everything, but that'll be the preview. All right. So, Kat, what are your Q4 goals?
So probably 50K profit and then 350 to 400K in total sales, which I think is definitely possible at the rate I'm going
I mean, after you see what happened in back to school.
in December, because remember December's a little bit different than the rest of the year. And they said probably about 350. So 350 rev, 50K profit in 1 month, which would
Nice.
be the salary of an average American.
Which is crazy,
Oh
like
my.
to even think that it's possible. But
Yeah.
Max, what do you think?
Yeah, 250 to 3 is what I'm aiming for.
Yeah. Well, I feel like every time like we've put a number out, it's like you could probably do more.
July wasn't that for me, but August
Yeah.
definitely was.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember
think,
the
like,
original goal?
What?
Remember the original goal? It was 50K in August. That was
yeah.
the original group chat name.
Yeah, and then and then like the we had to hit. We just had a shared goal of everyone has to do 30K, and like we
Minimum.
did that in the first like week.
John literally did 50K in like
Crazy.
4
5
days.
days, dude.
Yeah,
That was
and the
nuts.
guy touched his first product in June.
Yeah.
What about you, Peter? What are you aiming for in December?
Yeah, so in Q4, I think 300K rev, and wherever that lands in profit. You know, if we're doing like 20% margin.
Are we gonna 50%
50%.
battle it out for who can do the most in Q4? In
Yeah.
in December, me and Pete racing with Max.
so.
We all got the same goal. First one to 300K in December.
Yeah, I think
Y'all
300K
probably
is
do
on the
more than me
table.
because I'm weaning off personal, so I'm gonna be like
Yeah,
a
but-
month or two behind.
Yep.
But
3
what
months
you got to
back.
learn is what you got to learn is that like you need access to credit going into that, and that's like a huge barrier for a lot of people, and that's like you need to be prepared for that. You need to take the steps
Yeah.
necessary to get ready for it. So
Oh, dude, I'm gonna start strategizing like crazy.
yeah, all right.
Almost
But with
every
that,
stuff.
thank you everybody. It's been our first episode. I appreciate everybody tuning in. But come back next week for more. We'll have a special one next week.